Tesla is about to have their Chat-GPT moment, and James Dauma is going to help us understand how. James Dauma has long been an integral part of the Tesla community. He's been our AI guy and helps us understand the more technical components of Tesla. I highly recommend following him on Twitter because of tweets like these that help us understand what we are investing in. James says, an interesting aspect of FSD V12 is the applicability of scaling laws. Now, if you don't know what FSD V12 is, it's a new version of full self-driving that Elon showcased on a live stream on Friday. This new version uses hardly any code, and it's just end-to-end neural nets. There's not code telling the car what to do. Tesla is just showing the neural nets a ton of video data, and through watching that video data, the car is learning how to drive. Scaling laws should let Tesla predict the performance of an FSD implementation ahead of time. That's important. Let's keep reading. Scaling laws in neural networks are stable relationships between the performance of a neural net and its size, training data size, and total training compute. One way they are useful in development of a big neural net project is that they provide a way to know what result you are going to get before you go to the considerable time and expense involved in building and training a major system. So with version 12 of FSD, James is saying Tesla can apply scaling laws to know where the system is headed before they invest a bunch of time and money into it. So James goes on and says, in their GPT-4 technical paper, OpenAI, the creators of Chat-GPT, highlighted how a careful effort to evaluate the scaling behavior of the candidate design for that game-changing large language model allowed them to make a huge investment and know it would pay off. As a company dealing with innovation, dealing with huge amounts of money, capital efficiency is extremely valuable. Now, for them to know where they're going when they're investing billions of dollars in compute, as Tesla is doing right now, that is huge. Now, if we compare Toyota's R&D spend, they spend $10 billion a year compared to Tesla spending $3 billion a year. This is evidence of how Tesla can keep their R&D so low. They know where they're going before they get there. Tesla accomplishes way more with way less than any other company. Up to now, FSD has had a steady stream of innovations that resulted in stepwise improvements. This kind of progress can be hard to predict in the neural network world because the effect of changes in structure, input types, output types, training data quality, and such usually can't be predicted. You have to just try it. It's split testing. A lot of it doesn't work, and you never know where the big benefits will come from. Add in a ton of heuristic code in a complex, even chaotic operating domain, and predictability gets very bad. That's a problem because you don't know where you're going to be in 6 months. On Twitter, over the last few years, I always see FSD beta test drivers saying, oh, this version's good. And then the next version comes out, and they're like, this version's not that good. And then the next one comes out, they're like, this one's really good. And this is because Tesla has been going through an innovation process. They haven't been scaling. They've been changing the code, trying different things, seeing what works. James says there aren't scaling laws for a stream of innovations, and predicting regular code development is a disaster. This is why we've been seeing such fluctuations. But he's saying that there's a change of tide. He says, as of now, V12 is probably different. We're going to start seeing some predictability, a linear scale of FSD beta testers saying it just keeps getting better. If, as seems to be the case, Tesla has already settled on the structure for the system and now needs to scale up training, then maybe, for the first time, the end is really in sight, and FSD will get its Chat-GPT moment. Elon has never undertaken a project that he didn't see out to completion. This is because when he takes on a project, in his mind, he knows that it is possible. Sometimes he's wrong about how long it will take, but he always gets it done. So I reply to James with a question. I say, this is great news, James. Is there anything from a technical standpoint that could prevent us from getting to the light at the end of the tunnel? Or is there zero doubt in your mind that this system and predictability, that with enough video data, we will get to level 4? James responds and says, the operational domain of self-driving is so poorly understood that nothing is certain. But I see total failure as much less than 1% likely. We're so close already, and there's a universe of ways to improve. Well, as James said in his original tweet, the operational domain is about to get certain. The fact that Tesla has come this far, as James says, we're so close already, and they've just gotten there on innovation. Now you bring in scale, and less than 1% likely that this thing doesn't work. And if you want to talk about scale, just this past Monday, Tesla's cluster of 10,000 H100 GPUs went live. And instantly, along with Dojo, Tesla's compute went up by 3.1x. And this thing is not even fully ramped yet. Elon's suggesting that by the end of its round, it'll be 7x, and they are expecting to get to 100 exaflops by the end of next year. So now Elon replies to James' tweet and says, the scaling laws that OpenAI and others talk about are bogus, in my opinion. Garbage in, garbage out. GPT is a predictor of garbage. I think Elon says this because Chat-GPT, to get their data, they are scraping the entire internet. And when you're scraping the whole internet, you pick up a lot of garbage. James replies to Elon and agrees that sometimes the causal connection doesn't exist and it can be misleading. But he says, on the other hand, Elon, if you can extrapolate V12 performance by drawing on a line on a chart, well, you should. With this conversation in mind and with V12 coming out on Friday, I think now is a good time to go back to the Q2 earnings call and listen to Elon literally tell us what Tesla was going to do before they did it.
With respect to Autopilot and Dojo, in order to build autonomy, we also need to train our neural net with data from millions of vehicles. With the more, this has been proven over and over again, the more training data you have, the better the results. There are times where we see basically in a neural net, basically it's sort of at 1 million training examples, it barely works. At 2 million, it slightly works. At 3 million, it's like, wow, okay, we're seeing something. But then you get like 10 million training examples. It's like, it becomes incredible. There's just no substitute for a massive amount of data. And obviously Tesla has more vehicles on the road that are collecting this data than all the companies combined by, I think, maybe even an order of magnitude. So I think we might have 90% of all, or a very big number. The success in AI endeavors is a function of talent, sort of unique data, and computing resources. And we have outstanding capabilities in all three arenas. And I really just don't know how anyone could do what we're doing, even if they had our software and had our computer, if they did not have the training data. So speaking of which, our Dojo training computer is designed to significantly reduce the cost of neural net training. It is designed to, it's not optimized for the kind of training that we need, which is video training. We just see that the need for neural net training, again, talking about being quasi-infinite things, is just enormous. I think we're expecting to use both NVIDIA and Dojo, to be clear. But we just see a demand for really vast training resources. We think we may reach in-house neural net training capability of 100 exaflops by the end of next year. So to date, over 300 million miles have been driven using FSD beta. That 300 million mile number is going to seem very small very quickly. It'll soon be billions of miles, then tens of billions of miles. FSD will go from being as good as a human to then being vastly better than a human. We see a clear path to full self-driving being 10 times safer than the average human driver. So, and between Autopilot, our Dojo computer, our inference hardware in the car, which we call sort of hardware 3, 4, but it's really dedicated. It's a high efficiency inference computer that's in the car, and our Optimus robot. Tesla is clearly at the cutting edge of AI.
Tesla certainly is. Kathy Wood is going to drive home this point. Tesla, because of its positioning with AI, it is the only auto company or tech company that has designed its own chip for autonomous driving. This is not an auto play. This is an autonomous taxi platform play with software as a service like margins. If this doesn't get you excited, I don't know what does. Go tell your friends.